Namaste. Good morning, yogis. I'm going to take you through a 10-minute stretch that you can do with a yoga wheel. So lately, this is what I have been doing in the morning. I have the most amount of issues with my shoulders and upper back. It's the tightest part of my body. So the yoga wheel is quite helpful to help open up. So I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. It's very simple. Just grab your yoga wheel. And the way that I normally like to begin is just by doing like kind of a supported fish pose with the wheel. So getting it more towards the upper back and supporting yourself here. You can interlace your fingers behind the back of your head and very slowly just lean on back and feel into the shoulder blades, into your chest. And then I like to lift back up on the inhale and exhale to lay back down over the wheel. Just doing this really slowly a few times. So it's almost as if you're doing like little crunches, but there's not really much engagement in my abdominals. And I'm finally filming at home. You guys have been asking for more videos at home with my cats. Cleo. I don't know if you guys have pets at home, but if you do, I'm sure they're always around whenever you have your yoga mat out. Okay, so once I've done that a few times, I'm going to go a little bit lower down the spine. So now we're up and I want to work my way down. So pushing into the feet, I like to still support the back of my head and just start to lean back. So your hips are hovering over the ground or hovering off the floor and then leaning it back. And just a little bit of rolling back and forth. I'm not doing too much here. Again, first thing in the morning, most of us are going to be quite stiff and tight. And you might want to hold onto the wheel with your palms. And still just focusing on that mid to upper back. As if you're trying to melt your hips down towards the wheel. And roll all the way back onto your seat into release. Perfect. So lifting up, I'm now going to move the wheel further down so it's more towards my low back to mid back. And same thing, I'm using my feet to support me. I'm just going to walk it back so I don't end up into the wall. And from here, this time, just letting gravity pull my head down towards the mat. And it might even feel good to let your arms reach up overhead. So almost like a supported bridge pose. It might feel good to stretch your legs out in front of you. You can always keep them bent if you prefer. And just a few deep belly breaths here. So we're just working our way down the spine. We started up towards the mid and now towards the lower. And walking the fingertips back in just so you have a little bit of support. I'm just going to roll through the entire length of my spine. So holding my head just a little bit. Rolling back and forth. And trying to make this really fluid and liquid. Notice the flow of your breath. And come back into that supported bridge variation so that the wheel is under your low back, more towards your hips. And if you'd like, one thing I like to do here is to bend one knee and get a little quad stretch. And you might choose to do one at a time, or you might choose to bend and bring both shins down towards the floor. Just a big front body opening here. Some of you might be able to hold on to the wheel. It's a little too much for me first thing in the morning, so I just kind of support my head. And sliding off when you're ready. Coming back into that seat. Let's reach the legs back out in front of us. So I'm just going to do upper back one last time and then we'll switch things up. So bring your wheel a little bit more towards the kind of like the bra strap area between the shoulder blades and leaning it back. So now that we've kind of opened a little bit more, support the back of your head and see if you can actually like let the back of your head rest on the wheel, and you might hold onto it and push into your feet as if you're going to now drop your elbows towards the floor. For some of you at home, it might be easy to drop the floor or to drop the elbows down, and for others, it might be quite challenging. So it's totally fine if they're not there yet. They can stay hovering. If you do have your forearms down on the mat, now what you want to focus on is trying to melt your hips down towards your wheel. And it might just be like an inch or two. Again, this is the area in my body that has the most tightness. I've had a lot of injuries here. So it's not so much about doing really extreme stuff as much as it is about just regaining just a regular range of motion. Okay, and to ease out of this one, release the hold of your wheel, bring your palms flat to the floor and push into the hands so that you can roll all the way back. Hips coming down to the floor, and we'll lift on up. So I always like to do a bit of a forward fold after this. It's a lot of back bends. Just straightening your legs out in front of you, relax. And I like to just let my head be heavy, more like a yin style forward folds. Softening, you can bend into the legs a little bit. And coming on up, opening through your chest. Okay, we'll focus on the legs a little bit more. Bring your wheel out in front of you. And more like a lunge, you're going to place your right foot over that wheel and bring it forward. So exactly like a lunge, you have that wheel underneath your thigh. And just a low lunge, let your hips melt forward and down. And then you can start to rock your weight back so that the wheel is underneath the shin as you fold. And I'll just go back and forth in between those two poses. So bending and straightening. And you might be able to let your hips come back onto that heel, slide it forward and fold on in. Releasing the hold of the wheel, we're going to slide it all the way forward and then straighten the back leg. So it's almost like you're doing a little splits pose on this wheel. Just getting deeper into that back leg. And let's release, roll it back, and we'll switch sides. So low lunge with the wheel supporting you underneath your thigh. Pulling your heart forward, keeping your hips pressing down. And start to send your hips back. Hamstring stretch. And back and forth into those two poses. So just kind of rolling the wheel underneath that front leg. And you might need to readjust along the way. I know for me, one side always feels a lot different from the other. And the next time you straighten, you can let your hips go all the way back and use the grip of the wheel to fold in towards that left leg, wherever you'd like to hold on to it. And let's release. We'll come into that flying splits pose variation. So you can slide it forward, get it underneath the knee or the shin, whatever works the best for you. Lift the leg up and lift your back knee off the floor. And bring the knee back down. And let's release from here. Okay, so last little stretch for the legs. This one is kind of hard to describe. I don't even know if it's like an actual pose, but it's something that I do because it feels really good. It's almost like a pigeon pose. So you want to bring your leg or the wheel back behind you, and you can bring, I'm going to go forward on my mat actually. So you can bring your left foot kind of like towards the your ankle and the shin onto that wheel, and then just lift the knee and slide it all the way back. So you're trying to press your hips down towards the mat. You're looking for a nice big stretch into the quads and into the hip flexors. And you can even kind of, so the further you lean that back and push into the hips, you might even feel a deeper stretch by coming down onto the forearms, or you might get a deeper stretch by having a little back bend and lifting up here. So not really a traditional yoga pose, but I just get the best stretch when I do this here. So one more full breath and slide it back in. We're just going to switch sides. So bringing the wheel underneath your right foot this time, kind of hooking at the ankle, keeping your left knee as it is, and just straighten the right leg. So it rolls back towards your knee. You might stay closer to the shin or more towards the quads. And push it down, and you might lower down here as well. Just whatever feels the best to you here. Either staying up on your palms or down on your forearms. And we'll come on out. And one last little full body stretch. Get that wheel back behind you and roll back from your shoulders all the way down towards your tailbone. Extend your arms up overhead. You can melt back and forth. And we'll finish in a little supported fish pose. So your hips come down to the floor. You might open up the legs and just let your arms rest wherever feels the best to you here. Head supported by the wheel. Three big breaths in and out through your nose. I don't know if you guys can hear Cleo purring. Support your head with your hands, tuck your chin to your chest, and we'll lift on out. So I don't know about you, but that feels a lot better for me. So please let me know, guys, if you'd like more videos using the yoga wheel. I honestly feel like the yoga wheel is just one of those props that is the best used intuitively. So it's kind of hard for me to put classes together like this, but I have been using this almost every single morning. So I just wanted to share my, very quick 10-minute routine. It's been helping me a lot with my upper back pain and with shoulder mobility overall. So if you'd like more of these videos, let me know and I'll be happy to put some together for you. And if you're looking for some more yoga wheel inspiration, I do have a full yin yoga practice that uses one. I'll link to that down below. And I also have another video that shows you a few more ways that you can use the yoga wheel. So I'll link both of those videos down below, and give a thumbs up for Cleo if you'd like to see her in more of my videos. And as always, please do subscribe to my channel. I put out new classes every week. Thank you so much. Namaste.